Our thoughts and feelings are our own and are not representative of Electronic Arts as a whole or anyone else.
Once again, it's time for the Team Lift podcast with your hosts, Brandon Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Let's go ahead and get right into the show.
Is it a long dick or is it a big dick?
I don't know what she's wanting, man, but according to this, man, the first comment in says, I can't help her find that kind of man when I'm looking for him too. That's really what she said. She's looking for the same thing. So this skinny, long dick dudes is... And I thought this was a man when I looked at her, so that's what she's looking for. I cannot endorse this. I don't know what this is, but that's what she's looking for. Man, there's some wild people out here doing some things, man. All right, cool. We ready to get into this show?
Sure.
Mel, this is our show that we discussed about helping people to build their credit and how to use technology.
I thought this was the long dick show. I'm sorry. I showed up on the wrong day.
Yeah, I didn't know what show we were going to do, but... It started off with that, but this is not the episode we're going to do today. That's another story for another time. We're going to have her on the show soon and see how her search for love is going. So here's what we got.
Sounds like Tender Hell. That's what it is.
That's going to be the episode, Tender Hell, Technology and Love. That's going to be that episode. So we've been talking about this for a while. What brought this whole thing about was this week, as you know, Monday, somebody decided to hack my debit card, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, when I was broke and had no credit, nobody was hacking me. Nobody cared about me. Like, I had somebody break into my car and install a stereo one time, dog. That's how poor I was.
I had somebody break into my car here and leave my fucking Bluetooth speaker in the car, but steal all of my fucking charging cable and my mounting system.
I remember that. They left the speaker system that was worth more than anything. They were like, I need these cables, though. These cables are charge heaven.
They needed that USB-C cable because there's only like 3 devices on the currently that use USB-C that you can charge those things with, and the car charger. And then the magnetic mounting system, which only works if you have the little magnetic plate. They had to steal that, too. Oh, and they touched my drawers. That was the best. They touched my drawers. I had some, that's the Blue Sam's bag that's over there. Yeah. It had some dirty clothes in it from coming back down from Waco. And, like, they unzipped it and, like, dumped it out and went through my drawers to try to look to see if there was some shit in there.
So they touched your dirty drawers?
Yeah.
Trying to find stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, that's wild. That's wild. People ain't got no limits no more, man. There's no limits to people. They'll just do anything these days. All right. But cool.
Anyway, so
here's how it happens. Okay, so let me break this down. Let me tell you, let's set this up. So, 2012, I had a job. My comedy career was almost at the point where it's about to break through, right? And I'm looking at trying to go on some tours and do some things, right? And I'm about to try to get it popping, and I'm about to go on tour, make this money, and it's looking real good. Tour starts falling through, and I lose a job that I had at the time, and I lost my driver's license. It was just everything that could go wrong went wrong at this one point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then, now I lost driver's license, lost the job, tour done went through, everything gone. So now I'm just sitting up here looking like unemployed. For 2013, I'm unemployed. 2014, my dad gets sick. I moved to Austin, okay? So every year I told you, hey, I'm going to set to improve something, right? So in 2015 was the year I committed to losing weight, getting off all that medication, getting back healthy, which I'm already reversing on that because I love fried chicken so much. But I did it. 2016, I said, this is the year I'm going to improve my credit. All right. And so I actually started around October, November 2015 when I said I was going to do this. And so I had to have a plan. It was all it was. I said, I just need a plan to improve my credit. So what I did is I downloaded the Credit Karma app because it kept saying it was free. Mm-hmm. And I kept watching the commercial, and I just said, well, screw it. If it isn't, I'll just delete it. It doesn't matter. So I download the app. I get it on my phone, and it starts showing me my credit, right? And I just start going through here, and it's showing me, like, I want to say TransUnion and Experian. I think are the two that it shows you. I can actually open it up.
Yeah, there's only like 2 companies that do credit stuff in the United States.
Yeah, so I was going to look at those 2, and just get it, see what happens. And so what I decided I was going to do is like, let me see where I'm at. So I get it and I see this stuff on there. And I just decide, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start paying this stuff off. Here are numbers here. I'm going to call these people. I'm going to start getting this done. So the first thing I had was when I lost my job and everything fell through, I had a phone bill to Verizon because, I technically without a job defaulted on the contract and didn't make the payments, right? Mm-hmm. I called Verizon and they start talking to me and they're like, oh, well, yeah, what happened? And I tell them, hey, lost my job, was unemployed for, a little over a year. I just want to try to go ahead and get this off my credit and clear it up. Man, this is where I learned my first tip of cleaning up my credit. You will be amazed what people are willing to do to get you to pay them. So they were like, well, okay, great, let's pull your account. They pulled the account and they were going, oh yeah, based on the time, those phones were worth this much. And it was like the 4S, 2 4Ss. I may even had 3 4Ss on there because I may have had my daughter on that account too.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well, those phones are only worth this much right now. So, man, I'm talking about they settled that bill for pennies on the dollar. Like in a $1,600 bill, probably turned into about a $380 bill. And I was like, okay, cool. And I paid it off. But the thing I asked them is, how soon will you report it to my credit after I pay you? And they said, within 10 days, but we're going to send you a letter that we'll send out tonight. And you should have that within the next 3 or 4. And if you don't see it come off in 10, you can send that to the credit unions and to the creditors and have us removed. But it should come off in 10 days. Bro, they kept their word. I made the payment. My credit score shot up tremendously just from that. And here's the thing I did not know about this. Once I started kind of going through it and educating myself, and all this information is online. You can Google how to improve my credit and what affects your credit the most. There are things I just started educating myself on. That cell phones are called a luxury item or a luxury good. And if you default on a luxury item, something that you don't have to have a cell phone, you could just have a home phone.
Yeah.
But that's called a luxury item. And so since it falls under that, it was what they call more adverse to my credit when it came to getting credit, because it meant that, oh, you can't, keep up with your luxury item goods. So I did not know. Once I paid this off, my credit score jumped more than I thought it jumped tremendously. And I'm talking about my credit score went from almost the bottom of the barrel, like fours, the high fours, low 500s. Almost to 560, just like that, just off that one bill. And then it just started. What I start telling people is, hey man, just use this app, start finding the bills. The numbers are there. If you're willing to do the legwork, make the calls, and write the letters, you can do this yourself. You don't have to go pay somebody to do this work for you. It's not hard. You just have to make the time and do it. And that's what I started doing. So I started. I made the calls. I got Verizon first. Soon as I got Verizon, the app at the same time, I happened to be in it, and it said, hey, based on your credit rating, a lot of people with your credit score have applied for this credit card and they got it. And I was like, man, nobody's going to give me a credit card, but the Credit Karma app will tell you, hey, here are your odds on getting this. That's what it does. So it gives you like a rating, and it'll say excellent, really good, fair. It'll tell you your chances of getting credit cards, and you can choose what kind of credit cards do. I want a travel card? Do I want low interest rate? Do I want a good starter rebuild card? And it'll tell you, fair approval odds, great approval odds. So that's what I started doing. I just kind of started going that way and looking at stuff and trying to see what I would get. And man, by the time I was done, I had, I just kind of went through the list, and I think I settled on like a Capital One Quicksilver card. And it was like, I think it said very good odds, excellent odds. And I said, let's just see. I applied for it. Be damned if they don't give me the card. And so I was like, okay, great. $500, $300 credit limit, I'll be good as long as I get that. And so what I did as soon as I got that was, I'd been working in the video game industry for a while then, by the time I got all this started. So I decided, hey, what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch some bills over to this credit card. And I didn't switch anything crazy. I think I did like, the first bill I put on there was Netflix. The second one was Hulu. And then I think my gym membership. I put all these on the credit card. And I said, they're going to hit every month. I pay them every month. So this credit card is always going to be getting a charge to it every month. And then once a month, I'm just going to pay it. You know, I know what it's going to be. So it's going to be like $55 a month. So I was just like, before it was due, I would be at the bank and I just put a $55 credit on my card. You know, I need to make a payment to my credit card. And they went, sure, how much? I went, 55. And they went, well, you don't have a bill due. I just want to put $55 payment on my credit card. They said, okay. I made the payment. Then it would slowly pull from that amount and keep it to where I was always at zero. You know what I mean? So then I go make another $55 payment, and it slowly, you know, Netflix hit, this hit, and it would pull that money, and it would always keep me back at a zero balance because I always was working from a credit. And what I did not realize is that doing this was building my credit. It was showing a payment history and early payments.
Yeah.
And so then after I did that, I started getting credit card offers all the time. Now, most of them were shit. I'm going to be honest. There were some shit cards out there. And I'm telling everybody, be careful what they send to you. Anything from Household Bank, if it shows up, just shred it. Household Bank is a lot like those buy here, pay here financiers. Mm-hmm. They're some of the worst interest rates. They have, their credit cards are basically a cycle of debt card. So let's say you get the credit card from them. It's probably going to have $100 yearly fee. It may even have monthly maintenance fees on it. So it's always creating its own debt on the card before you even charge anything. And then the interest rates are usually going to be about anywhere from 23 to 28%. They're going to be garbage. And so I tell everybody, man, don't do that. Don't mess with those. Read the interest rates, know what they are. And so I was just educating myself, man. Like I seriously was putting in work to do this.
Yeah.
And then after I did that, I had the bank card, you know, I had a new cell phone bill because I paid off that one. I had a credit card. Bank of America and Citibank kept sending me credit card offers, and I got tired of them, like shredding them all the time. And after about a year, I just got tired. I said, you know what I'm going to do with this Bank of America? I'm just going to apply for it. And when I don't get the card, they'll quit sending it to me. No. Them fools gave me that card, and it was a better interest rate on it than I had on my Capital One card. And I was like, holy hell, now what am I doing? Because now my credit, I had credit at one point that was saying $500, right?
Yeah.
But because I kept doing that every month with Capital One, one day I went onto the Capital One app, and I was just like, you have this much credit. And I went, I didn't make that many payments over. I know I don't have this much credit. I have over $2,000 worth of credit. I mean, well over 2,000.
This is why we just need to build you a PC.
No. This is so I got over $2,000 on this credit card. So I called the bank. Like, there's been a problem on my card. They said, what do you mean? I said, well, I, had this much $500 credit limit. I've been doing this. They said, yeah, it looks like you got a credit limit increase because of your good payment standing with us, and your interest rates dropped. And I went, what? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, how much? And they gave me this number. And I'm going to tell you right now, I could build us 2 PCs. I could build us 2 PCs if I needed to. But I was just in shock. Like, what? And it was just simply, all I did was start it with the Credit Karma app and just kept doing this whole thing over and over and just like building up this system of just constantly, trying to make these payments. And so then when they gave me the second credit card, now my credit limit, overall credit limit is going up, which spiked my numbers again. Yeah, my credit score jumps on both. Like I was like, oh my gosh, so this is another spike. And so the other card, it was like, it wasn't really, it was there. And it was just like, man, I guess I should make something to kind of activate the card because it's on my credit, but it doesn't show anything. Yeah. So I think I went out and I bought like $40 worth of comic books. Like I seriously made a charge for $40 worth of comic books at the comic book shop and left from there and drove to Bank of America. It took the cash that was in my pocket and said, I need to make a payment on my credit card. And they said, how much? I pulled the receipt out, $43.10 and paid it to them. And they said, okay. And I drove away and I took the card and when I got home, took the card, put it back in the top drawer and left it. That's my emergency fund. Yeah. So my Bank of America credit card is my emergency fund. Sits there, perfect, no problems. And I just kept doing the other system. And then slowly, like I said, I just started taking off these other debts that were on there. Now, the thing that we got hit with, it's like when I started talking about this story, people started writing me about it. Like, hey, Roger, I've heard you talk about this, and my friends had heard me tell this story before. So they started asking me questions. They were asking me credit questions. And so I was like, well, cool. Yeah, what do you want to know? And I did not know. Like I said, there's a lot of information out there on the web, but a lot of the information out there on the web, you have to sift through it and make it make sense.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of information out there, but if you don't do the legwork, it doesn't make a lot of sense sometimes. So one of the things I got on there was this thing where it's called like almost every website said this, like let's say you got 10 bills, right? And what you do is with their theory was you paid a minimum balance on 9 of those, and all the money you would have paid over all of them, you'll concentrate that on one big bill, the one with the biggest balance, right? And you work it down. And then when you work it down, you go to the next one, right? And a lot of people kept saying that, but I kept thinking, well, that's ridiculous. And somebody asked me, why did I think that was ridiculous? I said, what if one of the smaller bills has the highest interest rate? I said, that's going to become a bigger bill because we keep letting this, I'm paying them the minimum balance, but it's got the highest interest rate, so I'm getting killed there. When you could just knock that small amount out and get the easy victories. And I was just being honest. That was just how, in my mind, I thought, get the easy victories out the way and then go from there. So, I was like, that's how I figured we should do it. Okay, let's just do that and start knocking these bills out. Now, I started doing that myself, and I can honestly tell you, I started this, in all honesty, November 2015. By August 2016, I had already jumped my credit score 200 points. So it didn't take long. It doesn't take long. It just took work, Yeah. So 10 months, roughly 2 months shy of a year. In 10 months, I could jump at 200 points. Just taking little victories and doing that over and over. And I didn't pay anybody to do it. I just used a Credit Karma app. I signed up for online banking with all my bank accounts.
Yeah.
If you bank at Bank of America and you sign up for online banking, free FICO scores just for having an online banking account with them.
I refuse to bank at Bank of America anymore.
Oh, man, bro, there's always a bank that you don't want to bank with.
Well, the reason is they reorder charges on purpose to create overdrafts. So if you have, say you have like $20 in your account, and you make 5 or 6 $2 purchases, and then you make another purchase that's like $15, which would technically overdraft you, they'll put that big charge first, and then they'll put all the little charges in after it. So all the little card charges will ding for $35 a piece, so you owe them more money.
Right. I've heard people say that. I've heard people also, the one I hate, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying it, I hate Wells Fargo.
Yeah, that seems to be a universal thing. Everybody fucking hates Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo is one of the worst banks I've ever had to deal with. Here's the thing. In Round Rock, it's not even a secret. When one person tells you, hey, I put money in my Wells Fargo account and the bank fucking lost my money. I heard it happened in Amarillo. All right. And I had one person that happens to, freak accident. 2 people it happens to, maybe that branch is bad. But when it happens to more than 4 or 5 people that you know, and they're all banking at different branches, then that's something wrong with that bank and its system.
Aren't they the ones who are gaming the system by opening up multiple accounts in people's names?
That was the thing they got caught doing last year too.
Yeah.
And so I think they've been doing it for years.
That's probably how money accidentally gets lost. It gets put into an account that the person doesn't even know is in their name, and they've got like 6 or 7 accounts in the system. So the money is there. It's just not in an account that they would even know exists.
Yeah, so this is what was happening. They were losing money, losing whole checks. Like your check, was just never show up. You get a deposit slip, but it didn't go to that account. We don't know where it went. So that's what I think they've been doing that for years.
Well, they have been doing that for years.
Yeah.
They know they've been doing that for years. It's been at least, I'd say probably like 5 or 6, probably more.
I wouldn't bank with them. That was my one. And the other one I didn't like was Chase. I wasn't a big fan of them because I went to Chase Bank and I got, prospectus. Like, let me look at all your checking accounts and do you have free? And I do checkless checking. I mean, we live in a society. I really don't need to write checks.
I use Chase. I don't use checks ever.
Yeah.
I don't have checks. I have a checking account. I have nothing else.
Yeah, I don't need checks and that was my thing. And the thing was, I didn't want to make them, like, I could have got the free account if I was willing to set up a direct deposit with them, but I already have 2 banks where I split my deposit going to.
Yeah.
that make them free. And I didn't want to add a third bank into there. And I just didn't like what they were going to do for a third bank. So it's really one of those weird things where I've really just, like I say, I just worked on it, did it myself. It has worked out really well for me to do it that way, I guess. But, still, we kind of talked about this on Facebook. And people were like, hey, we're going to send you some questions. And I was like, cool. So we're going to get some questions I got here. I guess they wanted to do this. Here's one. We know this jerk that wrote this question. Have you read this?
I have not. I noticed there was an email that was in there, but I hadn't checked on it.
Yeah, so we got emails here in my messenger. It has some questions. I will read it. It says, read my shit either way. Don't be a jerk. I want it on the podcast. My question, can you co-sign a loan for me? I got needs, bruh. Also, Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis.
We're not funding your habit of fucking your weeb habit.
Yeah.
We're not taking you to Japan.
Yeah, no. This is one of the guys, this is one of the Japan bros. This was Reed, who was on the show with us twice. Reed, no, I would not co-sign a loan for you. I don't know what your needs are, bruh, but you're going to have to get them the old-fashioned way. And I know a really great corner in Killeen that you can go stand on.
Get you a job at a massage parlor here in Austin.
Yeah. I mean, there's a massage parlor that's going to be trying to rehire soon here. We can definitely get you in. All right. Now, this one here. I hate Reed some days, dog. I hate Reed. This one here, I told them I wouldn't say their name, but they had some great questions. This is pretty legit. Let me go ahead. So I'm about $6,000 in medical debt. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's overwhelming for a young mother and college student. There's always something more important that my money has to go to, groceries or rent or my car payment. I'm not good at saving money, and I know that would help. Do you have any advice? Most of it is affecting my credit score too. So this one here is really, I talked to him already this week. Okay, so there were some things that we did come up with, some plans. You look like you wanted to say something. You got anything you want to add to this?
I've got about $8,900 in medical debt from Seton from a couple of years ago when I had to go into the ER because I was basically like shitting and dying and fucking vomiting all over the place and couldn't keep fluids down for several days.
Okay,
so medical debt sucks.
It does. It affects more. The thing that I think about medical debt is that there is more than, I want to say like 49% of Americans have medical debt.
Yeah.
You're paying off a medical bill of some kind.
There's no reason for it either.
Yeah, no, everybody has medical debt. I have a bill right now that I don't know how the heck I missed it, but I got the bill from Round Rock, that St. David's in Round Rock for ER. Remember when I was hospitalized for my that upper respiratory infection that got so bad I almost had pneumonia? Yeah. So I thought, I guess my insurance didn't pay part of it. I didn't even know I had something that I owed. So I got to get that handled up.
You may want to call them and just make sure that they have your information on file because that may be billable to the insurance. They may just not have known that you had insurance at the time.
Yeah, but they said they did. That's why I was kind of going through it. It looks like insurance paid part of it, but because they were out of network, I'm having to catch the rest of it. Yeah, I think that was a horseshit call, but I was like, I'm not driving over to this hospital when I can barely breathe. It was closest to my house, and that's where I went. But needless to say, let's go ahead and get into hers. First thing that we came up with, I got her on the Credit Karma app. And then I told her that we kind of need to look at those things. Now, the first thing I also told her is let's get all the debts put together, and let's see what's going to collections. But let's see who is the worst out of those, okay? Now, one of the things I'll tell you I did with a medical debt, and I didn't know I could do this. I kind of got a little radical when I was doing my medical debt. There was one bill I had before, and I didn't, it'd been a while. It'd been on my credit for a while. So I knew who it was to. I went digging, and I found the bill. I was like, oh, my God, I know this bill. I know where it goes to. I know who it's owed to. I called them directly. I called that hospital directly. And I said, there was a time back in this, when I came to your hospital, this is what happened. I had a bill I think you sent to collections. I would like to clear this bill with you. And they were like, what? And I said, yeah, I really would like to clear this bill with you. Is there any way I can pay you directly and get this taken care of. Now, here's what I did not know. They pulled the bill back from the collections. They got it, and we settled for the original amount with none of the collection agency BS.
Yeah.
So I wasn't having to pay the collection agency fee and the bill. I just paid what I owed for the bill. Now,
Yeah.
and one of the things my dad was notorious. He said, "We have not because we ask not." And I believe this are people who play games online. That's why they always ask for something. You don't know it's a no until you ask. And so that's what I did. I got a little radical, and I started going through bills. Like, I started calling people, "Hey, can I settle this with you directly?" I found out a lot of hospitals, if you have a debt with them, a lot of those in-house collection agencies. That's why you may find a bill where there's no fee on it. You know, it's just a basic fee or whatever. You know, this is what you owe. This was $156 for X-ray. We need that $156 for the X-ray. That means a lot of times those are, you know, either they work with that hospital or it's an in-house collection agency. That's why there's no collection agency fee. They just want their money. I would always suggest, if you see those are the ones that I would try to make minimum payments to. And the thing is, even if you pay any payment to it, they can't refuse it. That's what a lot of people don't understand. I did not know this, but let's say you wrote a check for $10 or you made a payment of $10 on that bill. They cannot refuse that payment, because if they refuse it, you legally are no longer liable for that bill. They can't refuse any payment that you make if you're trying to decrease a debt. And I did not know that until I started doing this. And so what I would suggest for her is find the bills that you know are going to collection agencies that are putting on collection fees. Also, don't be scared to ask for if they could settle for less. And that's one of the other things. A lot of times the collection agencies buy your debt for pennies on the dollar. So they can buy, you know, a $200 bill or a $1,000 bill. They only bought it for $4. They really did not pay that much. They basically paid a hospital off. They say, "Here's your $1,000. We'll take that debt, give it to us." And the hospital's happy. They're out of it. And now the collection agency can say, "Okay, now we can add $1,000 plus our $100 collection fee. And if we process it over a couple of months and set them up on payment plans, we can really, you know, get about $1,400 out of this. Let's do it." And that's what they do. A lot of collection agencies. But collection agencies, at the end of the day, don't want to be saddled with your debt, because you could tell a collection agency, "I'm not going to do it," and you can just leave it there on my credit. Bad credit is bad credit. Collection agencies, a lot of times, if you come in, will be willing to settle with you for a lot less than the bill. You know, they just want to get their deposit out of it. They want to get what they can out of it. So, what's up?
Nothing.
All right. And then the other thing I told her is, and I know this is hard, single moms, well, you know, when you're a mom, a young mom, college student, the most important thing you can do is pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. I mean, I know that sucks a lot of times, you know, and especially it's hard with kids. It's hard to pay yourself first when you have kids, because I swear to God, if you have $10,000, your kid is going to come up with a $10,100 emergency. That's what kids do. I mean, so there's times where I still tell her, "Hey, set up a payment, you know, some kind of a savings. Even if it's $25, you could go to your bank." And a lot of banks do this now. I have one going with several of my banks. So I have a thing where as soon as a check hits, they pull $25 out. As soon as the check hits, $25 goes out to a savings account. So when I look at my checking account, that 25 is gone already. It's not there.
Yeah.
And I don't really pay attention to the savings account. And several times doing this has saved my ass when an emergency came up, because the money, as soon as the check hit, 25 went out to the savings. You can set it up at your bank. I know almost every bank and credit union I've been to, if you have a direct deposit, will set up its own thing for you where you can have money pull out and go to a savings plan, you know?
Yeah.
The other thing, if your company offers 401k and it has a matching, bro, I'm all about that. I'm all about that, especially when you're younger. It's like if you're in your 20s, man, and you get on with a job and it has 401k with matching, at least, you know, up to the maximum. I think what's like 6%, I think is what ours is. It's pretty nice. I know that there's one, like now they're doing full matching. So whatever I put in, they're gonna meet it. now.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God. So it's pretty sweet. So it's kind of a good thing. I'm always telling everybody to do that. Pay yourself first. Have money put to the side, money that you don't touch. And also, everything isn't a freaking emergency. I want to go to the movies. I want to go to this concert. That's not an emergency. Actually figure out what the real emergencies are, and try to go. Like I've moved to, even though I got credit, I got more credit than I ever have now, and I'm still more about using cash. I'm really about using cash. If I can't, like video games, if I can't pay for it with cash, I don't want it. I won't put a video game on a purchase, on a credit card. I won't do that. I won't. If I can't, like if I know the game's coming out, me, I'm kind of notorious for like, I'll just set some money aside and buy it when it comes out. I'm real big about that, but I'm not a guy that's going to put that on a credit card. I had to rethink about what emergencies were. And then, because the greatest thing I can do to myself as a gift is to be able to take care of myself. If my kids have an emergency, greatest gift I can give them is to be able to actually help them out. And so paying yourself is you being put in that position. Because I know there have been times where you've had money set aside and you're like, I got to go drive to see Jenny. I got to make these moves. I got to do things, or I got to go down to San Antonio and see family. So it's kind of cool. Pay yourself, man. And I'm big about that. And it sounds so cliche to say it, but man, it's so freaking important to make sure that you're putting money aside for yourself. You're not hurting anybody but you and your family and your kid if you don't put something aside. I got another question. This one here. Let's see. Ooh, I'm thinking about getting married soon, and I want to know how I would be affected by, and I'm not going to say their name, by their credit. We'll just say tremendously.
Yeah.
Tremendously. This is a thing, like, picture it like their debt is their kid. When you get married, that becomes your kid. Their debt has now become your debt. It's not romantic to say it. I don't even know how you breach it. Have you ever talked to Jenny about her credit?
Her credit's excellent.
So you're both like, hey.
My credit's fucked. Her credit is excellent.
Okay, so you're the guy.
Yeah. I'm like 10,000 in the hole. But that's that. Well, it's like 9,500 or something like that. But the majority of that is literally that 8,900 that I owe to Seton. The rest of it's like pittance, like 200 here, 100 there, 300 here. That's it.
Right. So, man, and that's the thing. It's a hard conversation to have, man, because nobody, when you're in love and you're all googly-eyed, nobody says, girl, this is the greatest relationship ever. Why don't we run each other's credit and look at your credit scores before we say I do? Nobody does it, but it's one of those things where you find out all the evil. And, when people always like, money is the number one cause of divorce. Like when people get divorced, it's the number one most spoke of reason why they got divorced was money issues. And it's because we don't sit down and actually run the credit before we say I do. And kind of look at it and have real discussions about it. Like, how are we going to, once we're married, how are we going to tackle this? Are we going to go in together to do this? Are we going to work, separately? And so that's one of the toughest things, man. It's definitely one of those issues where I don't know how to deal with that, man. It's real tough. I would say before you say I do, you might want to have that sit-down conversation with them. Yeah, what you reading right there, man?
There's a subreddit. It's /r/personal finance, and it's a really good source of information for how to handle your own personal finances.
And that's a subreddit?
Yeah, you can go there and just ask questions, and people who work in that industry will help answer questions and things like that. Yeah, we've got a lot of good resources on there as well.
And that's the thing I'm telling people, man. It's like you'll be amazed, man, like how much free information is out there. And if you're willing to do the legwork and just spend time, but don't take, like me, I would probably trust that a lot more because I hate to say this, Reddit has been the most reliable for a lot of things. When you want to get information on stuff, they really seem to have reliable subreddits.
Crowdsourcing information is the best way to get the right answer to a question on the internet is to answer the question incorrectly, because the person who knows the right answer is going to go, you're fucking lying. Here's the information. Which
I've seen so much.
Yeah.
I've seen it so much. I saw a guy that was saying a thing about one of the games that I play, a mobile game I play, and this guy said something about it, and it was a lie, and like 5 or 6 people jumped in and ripped him a new one. No, that's a lie. That's not true. This is how it works. And they were like, yeah, I want to second that opinion. I did it here on these dates. This is how it works. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
It's like that XKCD comic. And the girlfriend is like, hey, are you going to come to bed soon? And he's like, no, someone's wrong on the internet.
Yeah.
And he's just shit posting on fucking.
Yeah, that's really so true because, man, it was one of the greatest things. I used that one. There was one about, oh gosh, I don't even know. I wish I'd have brought the link with me, and I don't think I have it on this phone. But there was I used this one that was like a debt, I want to say it was a debt calculator, and it was from the U.S. government at their website. I actually used a lot of that, to figure out stuff about car loans and how to go for the best car loan. And, even now where I'm looking at refinance, where I've been offered to refinance my car, and I kept holding out because I didn't get the right one until recently. And now Capital One is like, the auto department and Bank of America are both trying to give me these great deals, and the interest rate keeps dropping. And I'm like, well, so-and-so said this. Well, we could probably go to this. Well, so-and-so said this. Well, we could probably go to this. And I'm just letting these two fight it out. Somebody gonna say the right number. And when they say they can't go no lower, that's the one I'm gonna take. I'm gonna be like, can you go lower? Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. But I basically been letting these fools fight this out for about 2 months now. And the number keeps dropping each time. So I'm going to let them keep fighting it. And it doesn't hurt that every time they're probably looking, my credit score keeps steady improving. So I'm like, keep fighting. What are you going to get all my loving? But yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things, man. I like I said, I didn't start overnight. I didn't get rich. I didn't win the lottery. I just knocked it out, chipped away at it a piece at a time. And it's easy. I'm not going to say it's easy to do. It's doable. I think it's easy now that I'm on the other side of it and my credit score is up 200. When I look back, I probably think when I started this journey, I thought it was impossible, but it's doable.
What we need is somebody like Credit Karma to create an achievement system for getting good credit, and then everybody will do it.
Bro, if they gave out achievements and trophies for good credit, I know some people that would get some platinums right now. They'd be like, oh, I got to get these, bro. I'm trying to get these badges, baby. Trying to get this good Credit Karma badge. I'm like, I bet you are. I'd probably be in there too.
Sounds like you've been in there for a while now.
Yeah, like one of my friends actually asked me when we were talking about it, because I always say the Credit Karma have to do it. Why do they not sponsor your podcast? I went, I'm not saying I'm not going to send them this episode. I'm just saying they probably do need to, because I have become a spokesperson for them. I really have, because it just seemed to work, man. I know there are some other ones out there, and I got a friend of mine that's using another one, and I'll probably do that. We may do another episode and talk about it one day, like what the best apps are for rebuilding your credit. Right now, I'm using Credit Karma, and then I use the Bank of America banking app. I have Capital One banking app, and I have, I'm with a local credit union, the Velocity Credit Union. But the reason I'm with them is because they're in with the education credit union system. And so I can use that card. Like one of the places I go to a lot is Amarillo, Texas, and they have education credit union up there. So that's good. I can use that bank card there at their ATMs without being charged.
Yeah.
So I was like, kind of helps to have, and I like Bank of America. I always tell everybody, have one major bank. You should have one bank that's a major bank that's nationwide. You go pretty much across, if you get on I-40 and go from California to the East Coast, pretty much along I-40, you're going to run into a Bank of America or, a Capital One or a Chase. You want to bank with somebody that's a major nationwide player. Have one of those banks, man, But be careful. Be careful, because big banks suck. I mean, let's face it. If you ever watched the movie The Big Short, did you see? Oh my God, that's one of my favorite films.
I need to watch it. I think we were trying to watch it for a little while, but stuff kept getting in the way, and then we never went back. But I need to watch it.
It's one of my favorite films of all time, and it's probably the most disturbing film you ever see about the housing market. But all the big banks were shitty and involved in that. There were no innocent. Every bank was part of that.
Yeah, it's because they were all making a fuckload of money.
Yeah, and they didn't care.
Because if they didn't do it, they were essentially hobbling their entire company.
Yeah, so it's
realistically, we should have let them all fucking fail.
Yeah. Cream of the crop rise to the top. Just, that's kind of the whole system that we work under, the free enterprise system. You should have let some banks fail, but they say, oh, but then it would cause this whole thing. Well, my money was insured. The FDIC would have had to give me my funds, and these banks would have failed, and we would have been able to prosecute them and hold them liable for their fuckery.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it hasn't been done in other countries and the whole country hasn't fallen apart. In fact, in some of the countries where it has happened, the country's come back even stronger.
Italy just went through this. Italy was shit. I mean, their money was shit. The lira wasn't worth a damn. They just went through this, and they're coming back stronger and showing economic growth. But y'all, you know what? Sweden also prosecuted their bankers. Italy prosecuted their guys.
Iceland as well. Like, they had a major bank failure, and they
so.
put the head of the bank in fucking jail, and they fucking completely restructured the banking system in the country, and now they're...
Each one of these countries that did it. See, except America, we don't pay attention to that. We're just so weird. We're just like, well, we're not going to put anybody in jail. But you should have. These guys, people lost their houses. People lost their savings. People were bilked out of money. We didn't prosecute them. We bailed them out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one issue I do. I mean, I don't have a lot of issues with a lot of administrations, but that'll always be one of my sticking points with the Obama administration. Not saying I'm a Republican. God, I think we know I'm more of an anarchist than a Republican or a Democrat. But that is one of my sticking points during the Obama administration.
Serious question.
Okay.
Star Wars: The Old Republic. Do people who play it, do we call them Republicans?
Such a good question. Such a good question.
There's somebody out there that's just fucking seething right now. I can feel it.
Yeah, right
coming
now.
From the future.
Dude, right now, there's a person who's going to hear this episode, and we're going to get our inbox blown up again. I hate both of you. Great information, but I hate you both. Okay, and we know that you do, and that's why we love doing that to you.
I should have had this ready earlier, but.
Oh man, where was that? We needed it. When I told everybody my first credit score when I started, that should have been. Yeah, it was terrible. But also, like we said, man, we did this episode because people kept asking me these questions. So I thought, hey, let's just make it an episode, put it out there. People can play the episode if they ever have questions about it. They can also reach out to us. Don't be like that jerk Reed and just send us weird stuff. We really do get legitimate questions. And I'm more than willing to answer any of these questions or point you in the direction of apps and websites that I use and get you those links. So, man, I really appreciate you letting us do this, man. But in fact, I guess before we get out of here, the Credit Karma app can be downloaded on the iOS marketplace,
iTunes and Google Play.
And Google Play, yes, in both. And it's called Credit Karma, and it's free. It truly is free, and at least get in there and get an idea what your credit is. So there we go. We will come back, I guess, with another episode of just regular video game news. We'll be back next week. I mean, as long as neither one of us quits, or gets arrested, or gets a job being a spokesperson for Credit Karma.
If one of us gets arrested, we got to do an episode from the jail phone.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Palmer Lucky is glad to be in there with me when I'm in.
Let me use my one phone call. Hold on. I need this phone for about 45 minutes.
Yeah, they're going to be like,
maybe an hour.
Yeah, man. I would be like, come on, bro, you got to come visit me.
You want to call somebody and have them help you get out? No.
He can do that after we do the show. Yeah. Man, I'm going to be in there like, what up, Q-Dog? Yeah, like, no. I'm going to be like, Brandon, do I need to come get bail money and get you out? I don't want to go. All right, man. Everybody have a wonderful week. We'll be talking to you soon. Peace. Thanks for listening to the Team Lift Podcast with your hosts, Brendan Bowie and Roderick McDaniel. Join us again next week as we discuss more topics from geek culture. Be sure to follow us on our Twitter page @GoTeamLift, as well as our personal pages @Coach Silky and @ThighSide. You can direct questions or comments to us on our Twitter page, as well as find links to all of our social media outlets. Thank you for listening. See you again next week.